Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I am Doc Rod, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Hypnotic, streaming now on Netflix. This is going to be fun. With me this week, of course, is the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I've been hypnotized.
Hypnotized. I like that.
I'm good.
I like
I'm good.
All right. Also joining this week, it's Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm good.
Look at your pumpkin. Got the Living Dead Girl
Yeah,
there.
it's not like the best. I did a rush job, and I'm not super happy with it, but it's okay for now. Like, okay, so I don't know if y'all have ever carved pumpkins like this, but see, like, they're not all created equal. This one's actually really bright. But see how they have the lines and stuff in them? I don't know. I'm not super happy about that. We'll see. I should have made a stencil, and instead I did it freehand, and that was a mistake. That was too much information, but...
Of course, joining us tonight is Dave Dreher. Dave, how you doing?
I'm still absorbing Crystal's pumpkin critique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something. I hypnotized all of you before the show, so at some point I'm going to say the keyword, and you're all going to
Oh, no.
do something horrifying.
I told you. I was hypnotized.
Duck's going to fall down.
Yeah.
Pick a word.
I actually
Wow,
think
that's a callback nobody knows.
Crystal, I think the writing, the font looks like something
yeah,
a
there we go.
serial killer would do.
Look like Comic Sans. All right. All right. Let's. We need to welcome our special guest host, the one and only award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing,
Oh,
sir?
no, that face.
Look deep into my eyes. Buy me Taco Bell. Hello, guys and gal.
Yes.
What's up?
Buy me Taco
Or
Bell.
torchies. Torchies? You like torchies?
Torchies or Taco Bell, please.
Torchies. Okay.
That sounds good.
I don't know what that is.
Tacos.
All right.
Tacos. It's in Raleigh, dude. And if it doesn't have sushi, if they don't serve
I was going to say,
sushi,
do they have sushi? I mean,
Yes,
I was
that's
gonna
so true.
They have sushi burritos, so don't give me shit. All right, let's move into our review. What we're going to be doing is giving our initial impressions, our first impressions. That will be spoiler free. Then we'll dive into discussion, which we will get into spoilers, and then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And of course, before we do, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. Check them out and let us know. To help us out, if you would like to do so, is easy and free to do. Hit the subscribe button, share with a friend, hit the like button. They all do wonders. And of course, above all, we'd like to hear your comments down below. Let us know what you think of the film.
Yay.
Hypnotic. It's streaming on Netflix beginning October 27th, 2021. Directed by Matt Angel and Suzanne Coote. Oh, God. Writers is Richard Video. The cast is Kate Siegel, Jason O'Mara, Dule, Lucy Guest. I'm going with that. Jamie M. Kalika. Either way, you win. Synopsis is a young woman seeking self-improvement enlists the help of a renowned hypnotherapist. But after a handful of intense sessions, she discovers unexpected and deadly consequences.
Okay.
Hypnotic. That fairly well gives away the plot. That's a good thing. Good thing. All right, let's do this. Dave, I always like to go off you first.
Hey, I get to go first.
Totally throws you off the rails. What was your first impression of Hypnotic?
I kind of liked Hypnotic for what it was. It held my interest. Katie Siegel's great. It was great seeing Dule Hill in there. I'm a big West Wing fan, so anytime I can see Dule Hill in something,
nice.
I like that. And I thought he played a good role in this as the sympathetic police detective. It wasn't really very horrifying or scary or anything like that, but it was a good mystery movie. It kind of reminded me of one of those Hallmark crimes and mysteries shows,
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but it was well written and kind of fun. I had a long day and I stayed awake through the whole thing, so that's gotta mean something.
Yeah.
It does mean something.
Yeah. So, but overall impression is kind of fun. Don't go into us expecting a gore fest or a scare fest. It's a little more cerebral and a little more low key, but good performances. So yeah, wasn't bad.
All right. I can get behind that.
Wasn't
All right.
bad.
Wasn't bad. All right, Crystal, you're up next. What was your first impression of Hypnotic?
Okay, so this is going to sound weird, but this to me, this movie was exactly what I expected it to be. Like, it literally was exactly what I thought it was going to be. And that rarely happens, actually. It was good. It was entertaining. It was entertaining to the degree that I actually thought it was going to be, though. I didn't have, like, the greatest expectations going in, but I thought, oh, this should be an interesting little psychological thriller. And that's what it was. Just an interesting little psychological thriller. It's definitely something you can kind of figure out before the end. I mean, as to what's happening. I mean, at a point, it's kind of obvious. But it was acted well. It was shot well. There were some nice shots in there, and it's like I totally agree with Dave. It's not scary, but it was entertaining enough to keep my attention. So, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what I thought it was going to
Exactly what you thought it was going to be.
be. Yeah.
All right. I like
Sounds
that.
weird.
I
I
like
know.
that. No, actually, I like that. Jeff, you're up next. What is your first impression of Hypnotic?
It was okay, and I'm kind of like I think Dave and Crystal. I love Kate Siegel. I like Jason O'Mara, and I like Dule Hill, who was also co-star in Psych for a bunch of seasons. Can do a good comedy turn as well. So that's all going for it good. There was one major plot thing that just bothered the hell out of me. And maybe I'll mention that later. Maybe we won't. I don't know. I'll leave that up to Doc. But other than that, I guess it was. I liked what Dave said about it. Reminded him of like a Hallmark thriller movie, right? You know, like
Yeah.
because it's kind of like that. It's got good drama, good acting's good. But nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing.
Nothing extraordinary, right?
Yep.
All right. Christopher G. Mohr, your first impression of Hypnotic.
It feels like those 90s psychological thrillers, like Sleeping with the Enemy.
Yes.
It has that element of it. It's kind of run of the mill. I mean, I like the hypnosis angle, which I almost feel like they watched a couple of episodes of Hannibal and like, ooh, we should make a movie about this, and we'll even play the music at the very end. The same music they use on Hannibal, but done much better. Yeah, I like the hypnosis angle because it's almost like, you know, even though this falls probably more in psychological thriller horror, but to me this is almost like this guy could almost be like a live action. Well, not a live action, but just a more grounded version of Freddy Krueger to some degree, because he can bring out people's worst fears just by saying something. Although I think after a while, you just wouldn't accept calls from unknown numbers, right? If you know that's the problem. So there was, I mean, that it did frustrate me in several parts. Like, why are you doing this? You're stupid. You're putting yourself in danger by doing this. You're in danger, girl. I mean, there's like several things where I yelled at the screen.
I thought the same thing.
And and I mean, it's got a good cast. I mean, the guy Jason O'Mara, he's plays a really good villain. He's that villain. It's like, oh, I hate every time. I mean, he starts out kind of he starts out kind of smarmy a little bit, but then he just turns into like, oh god, this guy's creepy. And you really feel for Kate's character, you know, who's got so many, almost like she has the same issues from Midnight Mass. But anyway, Dule Hill, I still have a problem with him doing serious stuff after seeing him play Gus. I just kept expecting him to go, what? Whenever he'd find out some new piece of information. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's still serviceable. It still has some really kind of stressful situations and stuff. And Kate Siegel, I mean, she could read a phone book and you would be enamored by it. But it's not. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It doesn't really do anything. It takes a lot of these other things that we've seen before and sort of meshes a movie around it. It doesn't really do anything extravagant or anything we haven't seen before. But I think if anything, just the concept alone is probably the most interesting thing. How someone, they can control you through hypnosis and make you do things you don't expect or change your memories, and I think this is the closest thing to sort of a grounded Freddy Krueger we could have in any kind of horror type film. So I respect that aspect of it, but it's pretty normal.
Tame.
Tame. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's very tame. It's serviceable but tame. You won't hate it, but it's just like it's there. And kind of like Crystal said, it is kind of predictable in parts, and even towards the end, I'm like, you.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, I don't want to say anything to give it away. But yeah, I think it's. I enjoyed it, but it's nothing to write home about.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Okay, so it held my attention. It's got that going for it, but it's boring. It's a dull movie. The story is interesting enough, like I said, to hold your attention, but it doesn't do anything visionary with it, right? And it doesn't need to be flashy or crazy, but it needs to be a little bit more unique in some way, because it does feel like a Lifetime movie or a Hallmark movie, one of these TV thrillers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if that's what it's intended for. But I guess maybe I expected more from the cast too, because not that they don't deliver, but the cast suggests a different film, maybe a little more. I remember Jason O'Mara from Life on Mars. I'm probably the only person ever watched.
No.
Oh,
great series.
Yeah. So he's still that guy, but I don't know. I was like, I was let down. I was like,
Really? See,
Yeah.
to me, this was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Like, it literally, I was like, oh, like when Christopher mentioned the 90s, like, I was like, that's exactly what I pictured when I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, yeah. And that's exactly what it was.
I
for
think if this had come out in the 90s, it would have fit
very
right
successful.
in.
The net.
Yeah, although I will say probably the most outstanding thing is that office is his, which is the most uneasy, non-calm office you could create for a therapist. It made me a nerve just by seeing it. I would feel nervous, and maybe he's doing that on purpose. And I was like, just the set design in that office is like weird.
Even the waiting room, right?
The red light, and it felt like Hannibal Lecter's cell or something,
There's no receptionist, just the red light comes on.
Yeah, the red light. Keep the red light on. But yeah, it's the design, the little thing with the water feature behind the glass. It's just all the design is meant to be just as fractured as this guy was in his head. So I don't know. I would have run screaming if I'd seen that office, because it's like this. I don't feel comfortable in this place.
So, are we in spoilers now? Yeah.
Yes, we are.
So what drove me nuts was, I just went to the eye doctor, and I have a female eye doctor, and they asked me if I was comfortable being in the room with her alone. So I'm like, under no circumstances am I letting somebody hypnotize me without having some other witness there.
Well,
tell
I
me
see
what the
my
hell's going on.
therapist alone, though.
That yeah, but it's not hypnotism.
No, it's not.
That's the thing that bugged the hell out of me. And
Or
then,
is it?
You just don't know.
and then she goes to the other hypnotist and does it without anybody else there. It just felt
well,
like
was
Okay,
coming to last time.
that is
I
what
loved it.
shocked me, because I was like, I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't know if they were all in cahoots together.
It'd be
Yeah,
awesome if they
cahoots.
were in cahoots. That would be.
Well, I
a
was
secret
kind of
clan
worried.
of hypnotists.
I was worried. It's like, I'm his mother, I almost expected that to happen. I was like, oh
That
God,
would be
please don't.
crazy.
I've seen
Yeah.
this too many times. But yeah, I got so mad at her when she went in there thinking like I'm just gonna record him. I was like, you already know he's
Oh.
messing with your mind. What makes you think you're gonna pull one over him? But at the same time, he's still stupid enough to to not like delete her recording.
I know, what was that? Well, I guess
Yeah.
it's part of his plan, his master plan.
Yeah, I don't know that he
Didn't get a lot of
cared.
And then Dule Hill, I think is probably. I'm getting tired of seeing stupid cops. Like, oh, my pain! I'm gonna turn my back to this person who keeps trying to stab me.
Yeah.
And it's like, stop! Just, I think I would be trying to preserve myself and keeping an eye on this crazy woman who pulls her hair out. Yeah, I don't know. There's just like so many times where I just got mad at the characters for the things they're doing. And then they had certain things in the plot that allowed certain scenarios to happen. Oh, my battery's dead, so you can't call me. Like, oh, your reception's bad, so I can't get. I mean, there's like so many things that just very conveniently happen.
A little lazy, actually, right?
Yeah. It's just it's a little bit too convenient to help the plot along, as opposed to something that would happen.
So I tried to
Just
ignore
happens too
that
much.
because now the more that I'm thinking about it, the more upset I'm getting, and I'm like, uh oh.
Yeah, that's another
no.
one I thought.
I'm like, don't think about it, Crystal, because you're going to wind
Christopher.
up hating this movie.
Like a cop who has to stay in touch, right? To call for backup and stuff, lets his phone run down. You'd have that
I
plugged
mean,
in.
I don't know. And then I just felt like he was like, he was so dour the whole time too. Like, he looked like, oh man, take some constipation medicine or something.
Okay,
Like,
but let's be real. What was his end game? Like, at what point did he think that she was going to be free to stay there and he was never going to be found? And I mean, because obviously at some point they would get to her. I mean, I don't.
well,
That's what I didn't understand.
I guess because he had a new name, and he thought people couldn't.
But the detective figured it out. Remember?
Well, he figured it out because of her. But I'm just saying that, like, I feel like I think the crazy guy thought he could get away with it because they didn't know his real name. But
Oh, maybe. And maybe he thought she wouldn't tell the detective about the house or whatever. He probably thought he had her at that point.
But
Okay,
because
I'll buy it.
she
I'll
could
buy it.
remember that from her
The sessions.
hypnosis session. She's at least able. But then the whole time I was thinking, is that a false memory? It's like,
Yeah.
so I wasn't sure what to trust at certain points. Although at the very end, it was like obvious. It was like a Freddy Krueger moment. Like, you just expect Freddy Krueger's to go up and come, it's been me all along.
I would definitely be suspicious, though, of him not having any staff at his office.
Right.
That's not natural.
Yeah.
I mean,
Although at first
you
I
know.
thought he was going to try to poison that cop. I'm glad I didn't do that.
Well, the part where she tells the cop where she is, and the SWAT team is rushing up the stairs, like, are they going to get there first or not? It's like that's become a thing. Anytime that happens,
A little too
where they
cliche.
flash
You
back
know
and forth,
it's not
I
gonna-
know.
Thank
there
you,
is
Silence
different
of the
places.
Lambs, right?
Well, that's the thing. They owe so much to Hannibal, whether it's the Hannibal TV show or the movie. I mean, that's such an iconic scene to her the whole time. I'm like, if you're not really sure, you're
Yeah.
not fooling me. I know this. I've seen this before. Clarice.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Well, Dave's
Was
quiet.
she a brunette girl?
Yeah, Dave, add something of.
As this happens so often with this, you guys watch these much more deeply than I do. I just seen it as a lightly entertaining kind of mystery show, and I didn't really pay it much mind. It entertained me enough to keep my interest, and I did not do any deep analysis on this one.
You just kind of.
Yeah.
I just kind of watched it and enjoyed it and moved along.
That was me until this moment. Too.
But at least they had the friend actually believe her for because too
Yeah.
many films they make the friend not believe her because I kept
Okay.
expecting her to go back to him and then get killed a different way.
Yes, because she would be like, no, no, no. But I also, I mean, I do appreciate how they, had the friend waiting for a call and this. So I'm like, okay. I mean, obviously we knew it was coming. Obviously, it was very obvious. But I was like, well, they did add some,
But,
plot points around it.
But how did he know she was going to be driving?
I don't think it mattered. Maybe
If she wasn't driving, they probably wouldn't have wrecked.
Well, I think eventually she's gonna scare. All the rest of them just died of fright.
Well, she probably would have
Yeah.
died of fright, but she would have killed her husband too.
But he
And
didn't know
then
about him.
then the husband would have had a reason like, oh, she got this call and this is what caused it.
No. Well, we already established him as a very careless villain.
Oh yeah,
Well-
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
He,
All right,
I
well,
think too determined to get what he wants.
Yeah. Well, he's very focused on one
know,
thing
I
and
just
not
don't-
everything else.
Well, it doesn't make any sense if you're basically forcing people to be in sort of a paraplegic state. How is that having your wife back?
Yeah,
Well, eventually
I think he meant
gives
that
them enough
eventually
memories,
it would,
yeah.
yeah, take over.
Wow. He's
Which
the
might
one
have-
that specifically said that you be able to control.
which might have been a more interesting movie is to have it after that happened, that he
Oh, yeah.
succeeded and then figure it all out, right?
Yeah,
All right, let's-
actually, that would have been better. Like back, yeah. That would have been a mystery then. We're like, well, what? I don't understand. She's not really his wife. What?
Bung. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, and our favorite scene.
Favorite scene.
Favorite scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I got a couple.
That'll be
Dave, sir,
So easy.
you are up first. Let us have it.
Yeah, just gonna kind of repeat myself. It's this is one you could kind of almost watch with the family. Like if your wife or your significant other is not particularly a horror fan, there's enough here for those of us that like this fare to keep our interest, and it's not bloody and horrible. So my wife watched it and enjoyed it with me. That's rare. Usually she wants nothing to do with the stuff that we watch for this podcast. Yeah, it was okay. Everyone did real well. Favorite scene? I'm just gonna give it like a 2.75. It's a little better than
Oh.
average.
Very good.
And a favorite scene, I'm gonna go with the scene where she goes to the female psychiatrist and she puts her under to try to undo some of the damage that the guy has done, and she like totally freaks out and just freaks the living shit out of that lady.
Yeah, goes over to
The
the
lady therapist. Yeah.
She-
So I
she
thought that
did-
was pretty
she's
good.
very convincing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty good.
Dave, before I let you go, do you have a Frankenstein shirt on?
I do have a Frankenstein.
Let
shirt
us see that thing. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
That looks
yeah,
awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Nice. Keep it that way. No, I'm just kidding. All right. That's,
Oh, it's good.
Oh, you look so much better.
Podcast good.
Just the one your final thoughts, your scored favorite scene. That's good.
So I think we kind of made it obvious that we were entertained, albeit maybe not wildly entertained, and it was enough to keep our attention. It was, like I said, what I expected. Which, if you like those kind of movies, this one falls right in line. I am with Dave with the 2.75.
nice.
I was teetering between that and a 3, actually. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
That's impressive,
I mean,
actually.
like, well, a 2.5 is just, like, if I go below a 2.5, you did something wrong. You made
Okay.
poop. You made poop. It's like that's middle of the road. That means it's like got good film quality, good sound, good, all the basics. But I guess my favorite scene. My favorite scene was when she played the recording back. I think she did a really good job, like listening to it, and I mean, even though obviously we knew what was going to happen. I don't know. Actually, I wasn't sure that it was going to go that way. I thought he might be doing some crazy junk with her. I was like, ooh, What's this gonna be? It's a
Ah,
lot more.
that'd be a different movie.
It was more tame than I anticipated, but still, I think it's, obviously it was a turning point. So,
Yeah, like you said, effectively done.
mm-hmm.
Maybe not extraordinarily then. All right, Jeff, your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene.
So, again, I'm gonna go back to Dave because he gave me a good idea. I think I'll have to watch this again with my wife, or see if she wants to watch it, see what she thinks, because I think it would be more appealing to her. I think part of the problem is we see so many of these that we see common twists coming at us. I like the acting; it's well made, it looks good, and it just had some problems in the plot, I thought. So I don't know if that's the way it was written or the direction. Not sure where that was. So anyway, I'm going to go 2.5. And favorite scene, I'm going to say when she has her and Brian have dinner together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yep. We'll love to have that.
Because I didn't. I mean, I did. I guess I didn't see that coming. I didn't know where he was going at from there. But.
Well, the shot leading up to that is one of the few times that I was actually impressed with the camera work, because that's when it turns.
Yeah.
Has her looking and she's upside down. It flips over and it didn't have a lot of that, but when it did, it worked really well. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, sir, your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene.
Yeah. So, this definitely feels like one of those films, like, Sleep with the Enemy, Hand That Rocks a Cradle, those type of 90s psychological thrillers from back in the day. A little bit of Misery. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything when it comes to it, and then also kind of rips off a lot of stuff from the Hannibal verse, with the stuff from Silence of the Lambs and definitely Hannibal. Even using the same music. So I was like, how dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, you could tell Christopher's like, same music.
I was like rolling my eyes. Like, I was already like, I know what you're doing here. It's like, if you get her to draw a clock, I'm going to slap you. But yeah, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. I think the performances are good. I mean, yeah, it is one of those things. There's a lot of different conversations between people. But not to the level of very long monologues for no reason. It's still, but the camera work is really great. I mean, there's even a split, there's at least one split diopter shot where I think he's closer to the camera, or one of the two is closer and one's far away. And
his shoulder is blurry.
Yeah, because you could even see when he moves away, you can see that kind of blurred line between the two. So I was like, anytime one of those, like, ooh, I like that. So visually, they had a lot of cool stuff they did with the camera, especially when it came to visualizing the hypnosis type stuff. But yeah, the story is pretty plain Jane. It's pretty run of the mill and kind of predictable. But I think the concept is good. I think I think the concept alone is kind of scary, because I think one of my favorite things about like things like Freddy Krueger and stuff is that he can get you when you're most vulnerable. And if you could, place stuff in people's minds where you can control them, and you just say words and get you to freeze where you can't move, that's got to be scary as hell. So yeah, I kind of like that, to where you have like a villain who's just not your normal, I'm going to hack you up with my hacksaw, but more just like, I'm going to mentally break you and make you do things that you don't remember. And I'll probably go similar to the other people, 2.75. It's kind of middle ground. It's not groundbreaking, but it's also not extravagantly good by any stretch of the imagination. It's pretty plain, but I think the strength of it comes in just the performances, a few visual flares, and just the concept. Although, there was parts of it. I think the ending, I kept yelling. I was like, keep shooting, because I kept expecting somebody to come back and And I still felt I kind of left it open. I almost kept thinking, he better not, this person better not pop up at the end. I'll be very mad. Although I just kept expecting, like, you're pregnant.
Oh God!
I was like,
You,
oh, please
you
don't
didn't
do
watch the end credit stinger?
Shut up!
No,
Shut up! I was like, no.
that. Yeah, the part where Venom showed up, I was like, what?
Legs have been pulled.
Jeff kind of stole my scene because that's the only good scene that's visually worth talking about. Let me think if there's. I'll just say the split diopter scene.
There you go. Go for that.
Anytime you do a split diopter, I go, ooh, I like it.
That's the filmmaker in you. Yep.
The filmmaker in me, because I wanted to do that so bad in my worst laid plan segment, and we didn't have enough space to create it, so we couldn't do it, and I was very upset. Crybaby filmmaker. But yeah, I'll say that specific shot because I always like when I see that pop up in a film.
Yep. And they did a good job of it. All right. I think I've made myself clear. I thought this was a little bit more boring than we've been talking. Again, like you said, the concept of it is interesting enough to keep you involved. I think, the acting is great, but what they're given isn't all that much. But there is chemistry between Kate Siegel and Jason O'Mara.
I agree.
And I was thinking, like, God, what does Mike? Why am I brain farting on his last name? Nobody want to help me? All right, Flanagan. What would he be thinking? Like, hey, you guys have chemistry. I don't like that. But anyway, throw that aside.
What?
I didn't see the chemistry.
You didn't see chemistry? I thought they did. I mean, I could see. Okay, no, that's fair.
I saw constipation, but it's
well, she's really great. Let's put it that way.
She's great. Yeah.
And when the more it focused on her, the better it was. I'm going to give it a 2.5. I really didn't have any other number in mind ever for this. It was a 2.5 from the end of watching it to now, even after discussing. Sometimes I will discuss the film and I'll weeble wobble one way or the other, but not this one. My favorite scene, I actually have two I could choose from, oddly enough. So even though I thought it was a bit corny and I almost wanted to yell at the screen, I liked how they handled it and how well done it was. Is when she's at the door and she's at home and he's at the door and she runs in and he opens the door or busts open the door and he says, freeze. And she does. Yeah. Right. And that's because that's the first time we get that, right? We know that he can say something and trigger, something, a suggestion, but here he's actually controlling her movements she did a great job of it. She's actually running at the camera and, so she comes into focus and boom, she freezes and she's there for the scene. And so I really dug what it was doing. Although I was calling BS the entire time, I still liked what they were doing. And if it wasn't that scene, I would say when the only other client that we know this guy has is hiding in the kitchen under the kitchen sink and comes out. And I thought the only reason I didn't want to pick that one is because I thought they started off strong, but they botched it as she got closer to the table. I thought a little bit. But then they had a great fight. So anyway, I definitely think this is a film that if you have Netflix, go ahead and watch it.
Oh yeah.
I think a 2.5 is like, you no harm, no foul.
Right.
Go either way.
I don't think you'll get mad for watching it.
No.
It's like I said, it's serviceable. It's it's got some good stuff in it. Even if it's not like.
You probably won't hit pause.
Squid Game or something.
Rings the doorbell, right?
Yeah.
Look. Yeah. I yelled. Look through the little hole in the door.
I know. My house does not have a peephole. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. My door, but I've got a camera.
To say that about me too. All right, guys, I want to thank you, Dave, Christopher,
What?
Crystal, and Jeff.
What
Totally,
is-
Don't
try to
figure out
figure
his-
No, it's. Thank you for joining me. This was a fun discussion. I assure
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, it was confusing.
you.
But fun. Like,
Let's say good night.
good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.